mind body transformation whiz and digestion expert with a background in holistic nutrition. And I help high achievers get their mojo back by helping you be high energy, healthy, and happy once again. And today we are going to be talking about that fire in your heart. Do you have a fire in your heart? And I'm not talking about the passion which lets you, conquer scales and get you to go after your goals. But I'm talking about the other fire in your heart, which is heartburn. And I know a lot of us experience heartburn from time to time, which is pretty normal, especially if you've had foods which are, greasy or fatty or, high calorie foods or a lot of refined foods or eating out continuously. That's a pretty common side effect where you will start seeing heartburn. But if heartburn is something that is keeping you up at nights, where you are like a tiger, just sort of pacing around in your bedroom because the moment you lie down, that the acid all comes up to your food pipe and it just makes you miserable, or if you just can't go to sleep, or you're going to sleep, in a half sitting position, it's quite uncomfortable, and nobody wants to have heartburn like that. And yet it is a very, very common occurrence. So much so that I think, as per statistics, Americans spend about $3 billion on antacids like tums and Rolaids every year, and an upward of about $13 billion on prescription medication for heartburn. Things like proton pump inhibitors and so on and so forth. So it is a very widespread problem, and I wanted to talk to you about it. Now, I have done other videos talking about why heartburn happens and what should be done, but I thought this one exclusively needs to be focused on that, because in the other videos I did talk about other stuff going on with your digestion. And because I've been asked so many times repeatedly, it is just seems to be like a common theme with most of the people these days, that it definitely warrants a separate video. So here it is. Now, when you have heartburn, most people think it is because of excess of acid in your stomach. And that while that may be partly true for some people, actually what's happening when you have consistent heartburn, or GERD, which is gastrointestinal reflux, okay, let me explain this. So there is a food pipe. When we eat, the food goes down our throat through the food pipe, which connects to the stomach. Now, where the food pipe ends and where the stomach begins, there is a little sphincter there. Almost think of it as a latch or a door, which will shut down the food once it's gone down from the food pipe down to the stomach. So what happens is, under normal circumstances, once you've eaten your food, it'll go down, it'll touch that sphincter, the LES as it's called, and it'll go down to the stomach, and the LES will shut. Now, in some people, that mechanism is faulty because of several reasons. And when that happens, instead of shutting down the LES, it is kind of either a little bit open or not back in its proper place, like closing the lid tight. And therefore, food which is in the stomach, and once it's in the stomach, it gets mixed up with the stomach acid, which is secreted when we start eating food, so that it can start breaking down the food that we are eating. So when that happens, and the food is mixed with the stomach acid, and the LES is not functioning properly, the food will start going back up because it can't stay down. And when it comes up, that's when you feel that burning sensation. That's when you feel like throwing up or nauseated, because you feel the food stuck in your chest, right? So that's that feeling. So that is what's going on in most cases. And, over the years, because of some medications that you might be taking, that might cause it, or generally just having a weak digestive system and not eating your foods properly, or tending to overeat at times and not eating at other times. There's so many factors which affect our digestion. But basically, even being on certain drugs will cause heartburn sometimes, because these drugs are strong, and some of the side effects of these drugs might be heartburn. So overall, you want to avoid taking tums and Rolaids and other heartburn medication over a long term, because they do have side effects. It'll cause diarrhea, it might cause gas, it might cause nausea, it might cause abdominal pain. There's several things that might be going on, so you really want to be careful as to not to overtake these drugs. The other thing is, because it might be a case of actually low stomach acid, that your that the LES is not functioning properly, because that will cause pressure changes in your gut, causing the food to go up. So if you already are low on acid, and on top of it you take these medications, over the counter medications for heartburn, these are alkaline in nature. So if you go back to your elementary school chemistry, you know that alkalinity will cut down or neutralize acidity, and that's the whole point of these drugs, that if you take the alkaline containing drugs, it neutralizes the acid, and that's why you have temporary relief. But in this case, when you already have probably low stomach acid and you're taking more alkaline medication to douse that fire, you now have poor digestion, because of which you might feel gas and bloating and discomfort, even sometimes nausea. So poor digestion is one of the side effects of taking these long term. The other one is a risk of nutrient deficiencies, because a lot of nutrients like vitamin B12, like magnesium, like zinc and folate, calcium and iron, these need the stomach acid to be absorbed in the body, to be metabolized in the body. So if you are taking over-the-counter prescription or prescription medications for heartburn for a long time, you are actually killing off the stomach acid, and therefore these important nutrients might not be getting fully absorbed into your body, and causing nutrient deficiencies. Also, the stomach acid is important to kill any bacteria, the bad bacteria per se, in when you ingest foods. So with the lack of stomach acid, you might be falling, you might be experiencing repeated infections and bacterial infections specifically, because now there isn't enough stomach acid to kind of kill the bacteria, and therefore you might see bacterial overgrowth and infections and a compromised immunity. That also comes with nutrient deficiency. And because we were talking about calcium as being one of the important nutrients which needs stomach acid to get absorbed, you might be at a risk of at a higher risk for having fractures, because calcium is important for bones, and if you don't absorb calcium properly, then again you're putting yourself at risk. So there's so many different factors that go into it. It's not just a simple case of, oh, I got heartburn and I took a Tums or a Rolade and I'm going to be fine. Temporarily, yes, you are going to be fine, but long term, that's not the solution. So really, in my signature digestive intensive program, this is what I do. I walk my clients through a 5-step process to strengthen their gut, so that they have enough stomach acid, so that they're be able to break down the foods that they're eating and get the nutrients and assimilate them in the body, so that there's no nutrient deficiency. You have better energy, there's no gas or bloating because foods are not being digested properly. You are regular in your bowel movements as well. So it's important to make sure that your gut is really strong, because that's one of the major hubs in the body to process all the food that you're eating. So if you're having any digestive issues, I suggest you check out my signature digestive intensive program. It's on my website, and I can post a link here. Meanwhile, getting back to heartburn, what are some of the things you can do at home in the meantime to sort of get you out of the funk? So the number one thing obviously is to avoid the trigger foods. So if you know there are certain foods which you eat causes the heartburn, like especially fried foods or highly processed foods, or for some people it could be a particular food or two that might be aggravating their symptoms. So you really want to be very cognizant of what's going on with your body and what does your body not like and gives you the symptoms. So that's one of the things. Make sure that you identify and eliminate the trigger foods, and this has to be a very temporary phase, because like I said, once we work on your gut enough and strengthen it so that your digestion is running at 100%, you can reintroduce these foods back and you should be able to eat them normally. So this should be a very temporary phase. The second thing you should try doing is boost your digestive fire naturally, and one of the best ways to do that is to have apple cider vinegar. Now a lot of you might have heard about having apple cider vinegar, so take a shot of it because it's acidic and it'll help boost the digestive fire, and you take it a little bit before meals, generally about a tablespoon in half a cup of warm water, lukewarm water, let's say, 15 to 20 minutes before the meal, and that should help you not have heartburn. So you might be thinking, oh, but I am acidic, why should I take more acids? Trust me, it's most likely, like I said, a functional issue, not excess acid. So you might be actually running short on stomach acid. The other thing is to eat a lot of bitter foods. So bitter foods like dandelions, turnip, mustard greens, these also help with the natural digestive fire, and that way you are producing or helping your own stomach to produce the digestive fire, and therefore help with heartburn. The other thing you might want to avoid is mint, because mint has a very, peppermint and any sort of mint has a very relaxing effect on muscles. Then that's why you must have heard me again speak about IBS and cramping, and I say you can have peppermint tea, you can have peppermint essential oils in the diffuser, or rub it topically on your stomach. So peppermint actually helps to relax the muscles. So what you want to do is actually avoid that, because that will further relax your the LES, the sphincter, which is already might be malfunctioning, and you don't want that. And for some people, heartburn actually is aggravated by mint products. So that's one thing that you might want to be avoiding. So here were some tips that you can start taking right away, doing right away at home, so that you start feeling better. But like I said, the most important thing is for you to start working on your digestive system. Anytime you have symptoms like heartburn, gas and bloating and IBS, or constipation and diarrhea, you want to make sure that your digestive system is running to 100%, in which most cases it is not. That's why you're having the symptoms. A lot of people also will find it very common to have constipation and heartburn go hand in hand, because again, you're congested, you're not digesting your foods properly. So it's a very common thing that most people will see. So that was a quick 101 on heartburn. I hope that helps. I have a cheat sheet called which helps you to beat indigestion naturally. I will post a link here. If you would like that, make sure you download the cheat sheet for yourself, and it has got some great tips for you to start trying right away. I also have a Facebook group called Wellbeing Unleashed. You're very welcome to join that, and we can carry on the conversation there. But most of all, if you have digestive issues, make sure you check out my signature digestive intensive program, because that will walk you through the entire blueprint of what I've tried on myself, because I've had a leaky gut and IBS and diarrhea and heartburn and indigestion and you name it. And I also help my clients with this exact blueprint, and it can take you anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 weeks. The entire program itself is 12 weeks, but it can depending on your condition, you can start feeling good in as little as 1 to 2 weeks. So if this has been of concern to you, I invite you to check it out and get in touch with me so we can get your digestive system rocking and functioning well, so that you can enjoy the freedom of eating the way you want to eat, right? The foods that you want to eat, when you want to eat, where you want to eat, without always worrying about, oh my God, should I eat this? Will it give me my heartburn? Will I have to be staying up all night paying the price of, enjoying a nice meal out with my family or friends? You won't have to go through that again. So that was my little tip for today. Hope you found that helpful, and I will see you again very soon.